Welcome to the Refine and Release podcast with your host, Jacqueline Vazquez. This is a refreshing space for women navigating the challenges of entrepreneurship, faith, or infertility. Stay tuned for today's episode. Hey everyone, thank you again for being here. This is season 4, and I can't wait to bring and introduce to you the amazing guest speaker that I have today. She and I truly connected from the moment that we just shared a few words. So I am really happy that she's going to be here, but also very happy that she's going to be my first guest underneath the new name Refine and Release. So, hope you're ready because this season is going to be so magical, just like the others. Let me introduce you to the lovely Lulu Guerrero. She is a multidimensional entrepreneur, intuitive healer, a soul connector, and founder of the Hidden Hues of Motherhood. Through her podcast, healing circles, and creative events, she supports women in reconnecting with their inner voice, reclaiming their power, and leading with purpose. Her work blends spirituality, emotional healing, and authentic storytelling to help women rise through the challenges of motherhood, identity, and entrepreneurship. Oh my goodness. Lulu, welcome. And I know this is your first podcast being a guest. So tell
Yes,
me, how are you doing right now?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited. I was a little bit nervous because it's crazy. I'm not used to being on the other side of things, but it's really exciting, like butterflies in my
Oh,
stomach. Exci- Thank you so much for having me, and congratulations on the new name. I love it. It's so
oh,
fitting.
thank you, thank you. And is there anything else you want to add to your bio?
No, pretty much
Okay.
says it all. And I think today's conversation is gonna give you a little bit more of a glimpse of what I do, my story.
Awesome. And so I always ask this question, how do you start your mornings?
I love that. I'm very intentional with how I start my mornings. I am a mom, so of course, I don't have that much time before I wake up and wake up my kids to get them ready for school, but I do make an intentional effort to have at least 15 minutes from when I wake up and turn off that alarm to when I get up to really ground myself, putting my feet on the ground, doing a stretch. I'll do like yoga stretches or I'll do some humming. But I think the big thing that I do in the morning that I don't think that I can do without is breath work. Breath
Mm,
work has been something I've integrated into my day to day almost like aggressively. It is like religiously part of my daily routine. And it's for free, which is amazing. But it's very intentional breath work that I do in the morning. And I have a specific breath work routine in the morning, for the afternoon, for nighttime. And then in between, I have little tiny exercises that I do. I am not a caffeine girl. I
mm,
cannot have caffeine. I do sometimes do some cacao in the morning to wake me up a little bit if I'm having a harder time coming back to my body in the morning. But caffeine for me is no, a hard no,
wow.
because of the intuitive gifts that I have when I drink caffeine. And that's another reason why I also don't drink alcohol and
Mm,
why I try to eat healthy. When I drink caffeine or alcohol or not don't eat something healthy, I'm not able to be fully in tune
mm,
with controlling my intuitive gifts. So I always like to stay very in touch. And so, hence, no caffeine. The caffeine wires me up.
yeah.
And I don't think that I need like that initial kick to the
Mhm.
morning. It's more like I need something to gradually, slowly get me there. And yeah, that's just how my body works and how I've
Yeah.
learned to listen to myself.
I love that. I am a caffeine girl, so I'll take the double for you. So,
Yeah. Yes. Oh my goodness.
but it does opposite for me. I can drink coffee at midnight and it
Yeah.
doesn't keep me up. Like just for me, it does the opposite. It kind of I feel like it grounds
Yeah.
me
And it does for most people.
for most
Yeah.
people. So I
Yeah.
love that you shared your ways on what really connects with you
Yeah.
and how you function, the symbolism behind that and the
Yeah.
essence and how it connects to everything that you do. So I love that
Yeah.
you shared that.
And I used to be a caffeine girl. Like a year and a half ago, I did your normal morning routine things that
Mhm.
normally do work for people. But a year and a half ago, I started really listening to myself and being like, okay, does this really benefit me?
Yeah.
3 o'clock rolls around and I'm like crashing after I have coffee. So I said, I'd rather not. Let's find other ways to get the same effect as the caffeine, but without having those consequences later
Yeah.
in the day.
Yeah. And for the breath work, like how many minutes is it?
So that's what's so amazing about breath work. You can do it for as long as you want. So for me, depending on how I slept the night before, if I
Mhm.
wake up, I immediately know, oh, it's going to take me a while to get in tune with myself. So I'll either do anywhere from a 10-minute breath work routine that I have, or sometimes I don't really feel like I need it. I feel replenished. I had 9 hours of sleep, so I'm like good to
Mhm.
go. So it may just be like 2 minutes, 3 minutes of breath work, but I have integrated this into my daily life for, I want to say, 5 months now, enough for me to know when I need it, how
Yeah.
I need it, for how long I need it. And it's been a huge game changer, huge game changer.
Wow. Would you be interested either do a 1 or 2 minute
Yeah,
breath work at the end, just in case
yeah,
that
sure.
someone is listening and in need of it? I know I shared that you have a company and your services, the services you offer, but how did you venture into entrepreneurship and how long have you been an entrepreneur?
Wow. Yeah, I have technically only been an entrepreneur with my LLC since April. So
Mm.
it's been 10 months.
Wow,
Um,
congratulations.
Thank you. But I have to say that I feel like it's been 15 years of
Mhm,
kind of mastering, or I don't want to say mastering because I'm not a master at being an entrepreneur, but definitely a student, a
mhm,
pupil that kind of led me, prepared me into being an entrepreneur. And it was just something that naturally happened. I wasn't really prepared for it. And I think that the careers that I had before entrepreneurship really did prepare me
mhm.
for having my own business and being my true self. I have had many careers in my life. That's why I call myself the multidimensional entrepreneur.
I was
I'm
going to ask you about that. I was like, okay,
yeah,
this is the first time that I hear it.
I am multifaceted, and it's a little bit of a running joke, multidimensional, because the work that I do is a lot of it is spiritual work, and I am a medium and I channel. So a lot of the work that I do, it is on another realm, but a lot of it is multifaceted things that I learned throughout my life. I have been a teacher. I worked with kids. I was a full-time nanny, and working with kids really taught me a lot about how to see the world through their eyes. And I feel like every career, every job that I've had has really taught me something incredibly valuable that I've been able to bring to my business. I felt like a lot of it has been learning about my masculine and feminine energies and how to navigate those. For instance, I went to school for musical theater. So my first love and passion was the arts and music. So I've been always a professional singer, and that was like my huge passion throughout my whole teen years, all the way up to college. And then even after college, it was what I always thought I was going to do forever. I knew that I wanted to be on stages and making people feel a certain way through my music. But then later, I realized that what I really loved about performing was
Mm,
connecting with people in a way that isn't just about talking, but it's connecting on a soul level.
mm,
But there's before I had my daughter, I decided to go completely left field and I went and became an associate financial representative in New
mm,
York City.
mm,
So here I was after years of working as a child caregiver, nanny, a teacher, a performing arts guru. Then I went into the finance and insurance industry. That's where I was able to exercise my masculine energy and go
mm,
into learning more about the business end, finances. And so I was able to really exercise my feminine energy through my creativity and my passion, my singing, working with kids, and then going to exercise my masculine energy through working in the finance industry. And then those two realms led me into entrepreneurship. After I had my son, I had this magical idea or vision that I would be 100% fulfilled as a stay-at-home mom.
mm,
And I really felt that my kids would be able to satisfy me and fulfill me in every way. But I very quickly learned that A, that's not their responsibility, and B, I could not leave those parts of myself behind. So I was really yearning to tap into my creative side, tap into my masculine business and leadership side. And those were really things that weren't really being satisfied as a stay-at-home mom and taking care of my kids. I had a lot of rewarding times being just a stay-at-home mom and just being 100% focused on them, but I didn't want to just have that role. I
mm.
wanted to have many roles and wear many hats. So that's when I came up with, I wanted to take baby steps, obviously. And I said, let me start with a podcast. I can do it from home. I really love being in front of a microphone. It's going to be a different
And you're
way.
doing very well, so I love it.
Thank you. It's a completely different way. It's singing and performing, you're playing a role and you're singing songs, and this was different. I'm not playing a role, I'm just playing myself, and the stories I'm telling are my stories. So it was a very vulnerable way to start this journey, but I feel like that's the best way to start a business with vulnerability and your truth. That's really an amazing jumpstart, I think. If I had
Mm.
to give an advice to anybody wanting to start a business, I'd say definitely do it from a place of vulnerability.
Yeah, I feel like you learn so much when you're so vulnerable, and vulnerability can mean you're scared.
Yeah.
You're walking in a path that you have no clue, you
Hmm.
haven't done things before.
Yeah, the unknown.
So I love that you shared all of that. The one thing that stands out. So tell me a little bit about the masculine. Why is it a masculine energy to work in
Yeah.
finance?
Not so much the working in finance,
Okay.
but I think that the skills and the energy that
Mm,
comes off, the things that you have to tap into on a spiritual level, on a physical level, even on a mental level too,
mm,
that kind of is tapping into your masculine energy. The masculine energy is not what we think of as it being attached to the male. to a man.
Hmm.
It's more of the more aggressive and wild side of, there can be a wild feminine side, but the wild feminine side is a little bit more soft. And then the
Hmm.
wild masculine side is a more aggressive, more assertive. So I feel like exercising those two sides of yourself, and everybody's feminine and masculine energy
Yeah.
looks different.
Yeah.
But for me, it was definitely, I immediately felt out of my comfort zone going into
Hmm.
this finance industry because I had never tapped into this side of myself.
Yeah.
I had always depended on my singing, my voice, my creative and artistic talents. And going into my finance career,
There's a whole different,
I had to
yeah.
tap into, I had to remember how to do math, and I had to really tap into being assertive, which I wasn't used to being when working with kids or working in the arts. So
Mm,
it was very uncomfortable, but it was necessary. It was
mm,
necessary and it was even exciting. That's why I stayed for so long. I was in that industry for 4 years
yeah.
because I really did feel like it was necessary and it was exciting and it was really amazing to be one of very few women at my position and my job to have that kind of power.
Yeah.
So it was amazing. And now I'm able to tap into both of those
Mm,
sides and energies in my business. And that I feel is like the dream. That is the
yeah.
dream. Being in a position in your life, whether it's your personal life as a mother, as a woman, as a person, having the freedom to be able to tap into both energies and then doing that as a job and having your own business and being able to have that same freedom,
Yeah.
that is harmony. That is absolute balance and harmony for me.
Thank you for the clarification. I wanted our
Yeah.
listeners to understand
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
come from an accounting background. So I come from that high energy. Like you said, it's not attached to a person,
Yeah.
male figure or female,
Hmm.
but it's these different energies that take us from one point to another and how to
Exactly.
balance it based on your needs and your expectations and what you're looking to do and
Exactly.
how that makes you well-rounded. I found myself in that world and I went from being a team player to having leadership roles. I was able to, in a leadership role, really get a full gauge of
Hmm.
who I was and how I wanted the leadership role to look. And really not impress someone, but allow other women to see that you can do this role in the way that you feel you need to do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be one way. So I love how you shared that story and really put it in perspective
Yeah.
so that the listeners can really take it in. You have to find out what really relates to you, what aligns with you,
Yeah.
and what type of entrepreneur you want to be.
Exactly. Exactly. There is no right way. There's no
Exactly.
wrong way. There's just your way.
Yes. So on that note, have you defined more or less like your core values? And if so, share what some of your core values are as an entrepreneur. And finally, are they the same as your personal core values?
Yeah, yeah. For me, I've been very lucky that I've been able to translate my personal values into my
I love it.
entrepreneur
Yeah.
business. I think we all have the freedom to do that when we are our own bosses and when we have our own business. And I think that's what makes being an entrepreneur so freeing. So for me, my personal values and entrepreneurial business values are the same. Everything from integrity and authenticity and the compassion and passion that I bring into my personal life is the same that I bring into my business. But I think the most important one for me is definitely the self-love, the
Mhm.
self-trust. I have to prioritize myself and be my number one fan,
Mhm.
both in my personal life and in my business life, because we just never know. We never know who's going to be in our corner. We never
Mm.
know the amount of people that are going to be in our village on our personal life and the people who are going to be in our village on our business life. And we are running and we are mothering our personal life and our business. So we need to be our priorities. So that self care, the self trust, that consciousness living, that mindfulness living is like the core values that I really integrate into both my personal and my business.
I love that. And how long did it take you? Was it immediate that you knew what your personal core values were going to be? How long did it take for that to evolve?
So I think because I spent a good amount of time, I think I spent like a good 9 months before starting my business to really prioritize myself and really find a place where I said, wow, okay, I'm really happy with myself. I'm
Mm.
not perfect, but I am enough and I am happy with the version that I am presented with in this moment. So then when I started my business, because I started from a very vulnerable place, there was a lot of insecurities there. But I think that, again, it was necessary for me to feel the insecurities because that's where I started to feel like, okay, I'm starting to feel like I'm performing a little bit. And
Mm.
it's really hard. It was really hard for me at the
Yeah,
beginning because I came from a performing background.
yeah.
So being in a place where I was having to tell stories that were mine and not feeling like I had to sugarcoat everything out of
Mhm.
fear of what people were going to think, or even more so when my gifts started to really unravel, trying to tell my stories in a way where people would believe me or caring about people believing me. That was those insecurities helped me realize and jump back to myself and be like, whoa, why did
Mhm.
I start this? This is why I started this. It was for me, and then it was for the love of service that I wanted to give. So yeah, at the beginning it definitely was hard, but because of the work that I did on myself before that, it was a very quick kind of realization of, whoa, those little breaks that I had to take to get back to myself. And I'm still doing that. I'm still doing that. It's constant work.
I love how you just ended that because that's what I want people to take away most importantly. And I usually do the takeaways at the end, but that is something that I feel is truly important.
Yeah.
Just take it one step at a time. Everything's not going to come all at once. And to be okay when it's not okay,
Yeah.
because there are going to be challenges every single time.
Yeah.
It may not be every day, but you will be challenged. So once you've gone through the first challenge, it may have taken you a few minutes, a day, 3 months, a year to get through it. It's about grounding and finding that foundation. Always share that it's like painting a coat on the floor, right? A coat of
Yeah.
paint. And the more you keep painting on top and on top, you're adding layers to
Mm.
your foundation that has
Yeah.
different colors.
Yeah.
And those colors, you're painting the ones that mattered the most or
Mhm.
impacted your life the most
Yeah.
to keep that resiliency when that next challenge comes. Talking about putting your foot on firm foundation, that comes with challenges, that comes with being uneasy, being vulnerable. So it's a matter of really fine tuning yourself every single time. And it's a never ending journey
Yeah.
and allowing yourself to give you grace.
Yes.
Give yourself grace. And if you don't want to be alone going through this, if you feel that you're alone, that's why I created this podcast. That's why I have amazing special guests to share their stories and their journeys, but also to share their services, because that's one thing that I wanted you to share. Your work includes grounding practices. And
Yeah.
can you share a little bit about that and how it helps women entrepreneurs?
Yeah, of course. Grounding practices is my foundation.
Mm,
So I love that you brought that up because it should be everybody's
mhm,
foundation. I make it a priority in my day to day. For instance, the breath work, that is one of many grounding practices that I do on a daily basis. And when you incorporate those into your personal life, into your business life, into your love life, into every aspect of your life, you're finding these moments of coming back to yourself, coming home to yourself. And when you do that, like you said, you're coming back to your foundation. And when you're in your foundation, you're capable of feeling things like gratitude. You're able to rest without guilt. You're able to, I feel that when I'm most grounded and when I'm doing my grounding practices, I am my most creative. That's
mm,
when I allow myself to have these crazy ideas of, oh, I need to have an event like this. 90% of the events that I have thrown through the Hidden Hues of Motherhood or offerings or workshops have come from moments of grounding. They have come from moments of when I've meditated, when I have connected with myself, when I've talked to my inner child, when I've slept, when I've taken naps, when I've sat in silence. Yeah, there's so many different types of ways of grounding yourself, but for me, what's really worked and what I incorporate into my business and what is my business is more holistic and spiritual practices like somatic practices, spiritual practices, shamanic practices. And these are things that I'm teaching in a way that is not aggressive. It's a little bit more softer through my events, especially for people who have never tried it before. It's just, yeah, it's incredibly important because it helps not only ground you and coming back to your foundation, but it also regulates your nervous system, which
mm,
I feel your nervous system is the core of your being, of you. Like, how do you manage to play all these roles and do all of these things day to day without having a nervous system that is regulated?
mm.
If your nervous system is not regulated, if you're not regulated, then everything else is not going to go as planned. It's not going to go smoothly. So I think that's why I say that grounding practices is so essential, so essential.
Wow, that is awesome. And what are some of the things that you've seen some women struggle with and how they've taken a few of these practices into action and how it's healed them in some ways with their business as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, a lot of the things that I've seen a lot with the women that come to my events and the women I work with is a lot of them come, and I saw that our beautiful friend Gabby Barrero from NGN actually spoke a little bit about this in one of her stories on Instagram. Overwhelm is one of those things that is constantly being brought up, that people are just feeling, women are just feeling overwhelmed, tired with all of the different roles and things that they have to do, especially as entrepreneur business women. And I think that those feelings of overwhelm and stress and anxiety, I don't like putting names to them because at the end of the day, it all comes down to you're not regulated. Your nervous
Mhm.
system is screaming for help. That's all it is. So putting a name to it really is, it's not necessary. All you have to do is find a way to take those times and regulate yourself. Find the rest times, find the time to analyze and really think about and reflect, why am I feeling this way? All right, let me see. What is happening in my life that is making me feel this way? Because you don't just feel overwhelmed, you don't just feel stressed. There is something that is leading up to that feeling. And those feelings of overwhelm, stress, depression, anxiety, that almost always has to do with burnout. And That's all related. So what do we do so that we don't get to those feelings, so that we don't get to that level of burnout? So the thing that I say in my business's logo is mother yourself. Really mother yourself. If you're a mother, then just think about what would your kids need in order for them to be regulated. If they're overwhelmed and stressed out and having a tantrum, what do they need so that they can feel better and more at peace? And mothering yourself, really taking care of yourself, mind, body, soul, spiritually, is so important. And that's what I help my clients and the women that come to me and they come to my events. And that's what my events are. When I think of my next thing, what am I going to do? My brainstorming process is very different. I'm not sitting down and thinking about ideas and writing them down. What I think about, or what I tend to go to, is how do I want people to feel? It's not what do I want them to do? How much fun do I want them to have? How much money do I want to make from this event? No, how do I want them to feel before, during, and after? And and I just think I put myself in that position, or sometimes I even channel the women in my community and say, what do they need? What do they
Mm.
need? What are they feeling? What do they not need to feel? And how do I become that solution for them?
Yeah, and and you and we've spoken for hours, like from the first day we met to the next
Yeah.
time we met, we chatted, because this is a conversation that I truly am drawn to. And you sharing just that really resonates with me because, yes, I've been in business and as an entrepreneur for over 25 years. And for me, it hasn't been about the money, it's been about
Mm.
experiences. Yes, you have to make money, of course,
Yeah.
but it's been about the experiences. What do my clients feel when they have experienced one of the services that I offer? I want them to feel like they have a trusted friend and not just an event planner. And that goes for my event planning clients. And then for my clients who are my mentees, or if I'm speaking at a location, it's having them come to me is, oh my gosh, like you just made me feel like so seen, or I love listening to your voice. That's how my podcast was created, basically. My clients call me, I just wanted to hear your voice. My
Wow.
brides or my grooms, I'm like, how do I bottle my voice and put it in a bottle and sell
Yeah.
that? And I was like, and I used to joke that I need to bottle it and sell it because it's something. And little by little, it developed into this podcast,
Yeah.
allowing me to share my voice. Sell
Yeah.
that.
That's one of the other core values that I have that are so important in both my personal life and my business life. There has to be that energetic exchange, and that exchange can be financial because energy, money is a necessity, and it's a necessity and it's an energy
Mhm.
exchange. But then there can also be this other kind, there's so many other kinds of different energetic exchanges that you can receive. And a friend of mine, beautiful Raquel, she recently talked about how there has to be that cycle of giving and receiving.
Mm,
The giving is the offering that you're giving, and the love and the support, and holding these spaces and these events for women so that they can release, so that they can refine and release.
yeah,
But
yeah.
then there also has to be that reciprocity. It has to go in and out. So, yeah, it definitely is a necessary part of, first of all, having a business and period, but also of having a sustainable business.
Yeah, exactly. And what do you define as emotional resilience to you? And how can women achieve this if they find themselves juggling with their personal and professional lives?
Yeah, that's very important, and it's a very hard thing to accomplish. Emotional intelligence, emotional resilience, whatever you want to call it, it's very important. It should be a goal and it's a consistent work. It's consistent work that you have to do. It's allowing rest and asking for support and setting hard boundaries. These are all different ways that you can
Mm.
accomplish emotional resilience.
We can be here for days talking about boundaries.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's so important, Jacqueline. It's so important, but it's hard. These are
Yeah,
hard things
it is.
to make. We have these habits that we do that we categorize as negative habits.
Mm,
Anything from biting your nails to not setting boundaries. That's a bad habit. So let's incorporate good habits into our life, like setting boundaries is something that you have to put your ego on the
mm.
passenger seat in order to do that because the ego is not going to allow you to set boundaries.
Oh
And
no.
the only person that's going to not benefit from that is you
Yeah,
and your business and everybody else that's connected to your business and your personal life.
exactly.
Yes, setting and creating boundaries and sticking to those boundaries is emotional resilience. That's
Hmm.
emotional intelligence. But also, a really important key thing to achieving emotional intelligence and resilience is being emotional, period. Allowing yourself to feel not just the good feelings, but also moving through the negative feelings. And I don't like saying positive feelings, negative feelings,
Yeah.
because, like we spoke before about the colors, not everything is black and white. Everything is in colors. And that's why I named my business The Hidden Hues of Motherhood. And
Mm,
my logo is like all of these mixed watercolors
mm,
because that's what life is. Life is not black and white. It
mm,
has so many mixtures of colors and even in the rainbow, there's so many colors. So it's the same thing with emotions. You need to have all of those colors in order to be emotionally resilient.
mm,
Bottling up or avoiding negative emotions like the emotions that are attached to the ego, fear, scarcity, guilt, grief, all of these emotions are necessary. You
mm.
have to move through them. You have to experience them because they are lessons. And that's the only way that you're going to be able to be emotionally intelligent, emotionally
Mhm.
resilient.
I love that. I love that you shared. So there's a lot of firsts with this podcast
Yeah.
because the first three seasons, I asked the question of what is your superpower? So I'm changing it starting this season. It's what does a moment of gratitude mean to you?
Oh,
And
I love that.
what are you most grateful for at this moment?
Oh, I love gratitude. That's a huge thing that I practiced this past year. And honestly, I'm gonna keep going back to this. The only way I was able to fully tap into gratitude is by grounding. It is hard for us to tap into gratitude when we are in the middle of the hustle. The only way that we can really fully tap into gratitude is when we are in moments of rest, in moments of when you are back in your body, and when you tap into gratitude. With gratitude comes clarity. So I think that I don't even remember what your question was, but I love talking about gratitude. It means so much to me. And it's not an easy thing to subconsciously do every day. So at the beginning of 2025, that was my New Year's resolution. That was the last New Year's resolution I ever made. I no longer do New Year's resolutions. I do now New Year's reclamations, but
Mm.
my last New Year's resolution for was 2025 was gratitude, to practice gratitude. And it was so hard at the beginning because it's not something that came like by nature. So
Yeah.
I started actually putting it in my calendar as moments
Oh,
of
that's
gratitude.
awesome.
So I think like I started off and then small goals. You start with
Mhm.
small goals. Like every 2 hours, I put an alarm to practice gratitude. So I would sit there by myself and just in that moment, just scan where I am. I could have been at home with the kids and just sitting there and watching everything happen and just being like, wow, look at what I
Mhm.
have. I have two healthy kids.
Mhm.
I have a beautiful dog. I have a roof over my head. I have this, I have that. And then clarity would set in, be like, if I have all of this incredible stuff, all of these incredible things and people in my life, then the sky's the limit.
Mhm.
Then what else could I have? What else could I have for myself? What else could I be for myself? And so once I started doing that with the calendar, I no longer need the calendar. Now, because I incorporate resting moments in my day and grounding moments, that's when gratitude naturally flows in.
Yeah, and I love that you shared that in the beginning you were using your clock, your timer, and just schedule it. That's
Yeah.
a lot. I have that for so many different things because in so many different things that I do, either doing one thing or hopping on a call or recording a podcast or on the road or traveling for work. And so I feel that for me, I still need it. Not because
Yeah.
I forget to do it, but because I want to be consistent and
Yeah.
do it around the time that I feel needs to be done.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's scheduling, I feel like we're so privy to so many technological,
Yeah.
can't even say the word, technological devices, apps, and things that can help us
Yeah,
in that
really. It
walk.
doesn't all have to be bad, but
Exactly.
and then it's also it's you shouldn't feel bad for scheduling rest times. It's better
Exactly.
than not scheduling them and not having them, period.
Yeah.
And then once you, like I said, once you incorporate it
Yeah.
into your daily life, it's no
Routine.
longer a task and it
Exactly.
becomes a habit.
A
It
habit.
becomes part of your routine. It becomes part of it becomes a necessity. And
Yeah.
that's the point. The point
Yeah.
is that you practice and you practice. That's why it's called grounding practices. That's why it's called
Mhm.
spiritual practices. These things aren't meant to be done sporadically if you remember, if you don't. It's meant to be practiced every single day.
Awesome. And just so you know, you did answer the question.
Oh, okay, good.
But the second part to that question was, what are you most grateful for at this moment?
I am most grateful for, I want to say, my spirit guide.
Mm,
I have to say, my grandmother is my spirit guide, and she has been very, very present the last year in really guiding me and helping me and reminding me of coming home to
mm,
myself. So I think, yeah, that spiritual connection, I'm very grateful for that. And I'm also grateful for my kids.
oh, that's awesome. And so from today, I know we covered so much and you shared so many amazing tips and advice throughout. What do you feel are the biggest takeaways that you want the listeners to take into account?
I think definitely we talked a lot about grounding. So I
Mhm.
think finding those times throughout the day and to really rest. I could talk in circles about how rest is a necessity and
Mhm.
it's not a reward. So I think the big thing and the thing that I try to incorporate into my business and what you will see in my events and my workshops and everything that I do is mother yourself.
Mm,
Really take the time to nurture yourself, to rest, to listen to your body, listen to what you need and what you want over everything else. And I know that it's hard, especially if you're a mom, to think, wow, like, how could I think about what I need before what my kids
mhm.
need? But no, what you need is what your kids need. You need to be regulated so that they can be regulated. You need to be grounded so
Mhm.
that your business is on a very healthy foundation of peace and ground and being grounded too. So I think that's definitely the biggest takeaway.
I'm glad you shared that because I became a caregiver for my mom before she passed away. And originally, I wanted her to come live with me. Something was telling me, I'm not a doctor. And the energy that I feel right now is that if she moves in with me, I'm not going to have any bandwidth for myself
Mm.
or for her, my business and my husband. So I needed to make the right call as far as, okay, so yes, I'm still going to be doing everything that I need for her, but her best location would be a nursing home. And then that allowed me to continue to feel that my home is my sanctuary. It's how I
Hmm.
consider what my home
Yes.
is. And it gives me this peace and energy that I can rejuvenate or what's the word?
Recharge
Recharge my energy to then go back out
to
to
give.
and give.
Exactly. And that goes back to the
Grounding
boundaries and
and
grounding.
boundaries.
That's
Yes.
you setting boundaries for yourself. And I know it's hard. It's really hard
Yeah.
to, you're thinking, a lot of people think externally and think
Mhm.
about how is that person going to feel? How is this going to affect that person?
Right.
But what about you? You
Exactly.
come first. And everything else, if you put yourself at the center,
Mhm.
everything else will be okay. It
Right.
will work out. So that's incredibly brave that you did that, Jacqueline. I'm
Because
very
I
proud
know,
of you. That's amazing. And that's what a
thank
person who's
you.
grounded does.
And thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And also speaking from the Latino community,
Mm.
we talk
Oh my gosh.
about
How long do we
this,
have?
this is another hour, but really quick, coming from that perspective, I'm sure you can relate to this as well, is we come from generations and generations of we take
Mhm.
care of our own.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a hard decision for me, but I had to do it for my sanity. Like that's how grounded I knew that I was. Because even though it seemed like a struggle in the beginning, I did have to struggle with it. But I needed to really say to myself and be transparent in saying, but what good will you be for her? It's
Exactly.
like it's just asking those questions, and it's a matter of the decisions were on me. So
Hmm.
I had to sit with it. I had to just be in my own presence to understand how I was going to.
And
And
that's
again,
hard.
it's hard,
Yeah.
but I'm an only child, so it's there's
Wow,
no
that's even
siblings.
harder.
It's
Wow.
just she lived alone. And so thankful for God in my life and my husband, I had to tune out everything else. Because then
Exactly.
once you let everybody else's opinions in, it's okay. Where
Yep.
were you all this time in her
Hmm.
life?
Yeah. And a lot of it is, like you said, with the cultural background and the
Mhm.
traditional background.
Yeah.
When you go into this journey of mothering yourself, a
Mhm.
lot of it is reparenting yourself, rewiring the things that you were made to believe or the way that you were raised or the customs and culture and traditions that you grew up with, you
Mhm.
have to rewire that
Mhm.
to fit into the now, fit into your situation and what you are going through presently. And that's really hard, rewiring yourself, reparenting yourself. And while you're reparenting yourself, while you're parenting other people, other kids,
Mhm.
other parents, so that's the work. That's the
Mhm.
hard work, and that's the work you have to
Yeah.
do. But you're not able to do that work with clarity unless you do the grounding practices, the
Mhm.
practices.
And like I said in the beginning, Lula and I can talk
Yeah.
forever. I feel like our conversation goes into a different
Yes.
conversation. But what I wanted to highlight is, can you share, are there any workshops or things that are coming up this year in 2026? And just share and And I'm sure
Yeah.
if you have any links or anything, I can share it in the show notes when this episode airs.
Yeah, we have a lot of things brewing for the Hidden Hues of Motherhood. The big one being Soul Prom, which is an
Woo!
all women's prom, is going to be May 1st at the Four Nightly Club in Summit, New Jersey. This is an embodiment kind of nostalgic event, all about. Yes, it's an all women's prom. You can come be dressed up. There's going to be a DJ, photo booth, the whole thing. But it's also being run like a networking event because the majority of the women who are going to be coming, hopefully coming, are going to be mom entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs. So it's going to be an amazing event. I'm really excited. It's our biggest event yet. We're hoping to get at least 100 women there.
Awesome.
And but aside from that, I do have other amazing workshops that I will be holding at Florida Vita, the womb spa in
Mhm.
Verona. I have offerings that I'm currently working on, like womb tending and spiritual offerings too, one-on-one offerings. And I'm hoping to do our second Shape of Her Light event in the next coming months. So we have a lot of things, but right now the big thing is Soul Prom.
Yay. And so how can they find you so they can learn more about these events?
Yeah, the best way is definitely Instagram at the Hidden Hues of Motherhood. But then I also have a link tree under the bio on Instagram that has the links to all of the amazing things we have on there. You can sign up for my newsletter. My email newsletter always has amazing things on there. I'm also writing a book, so I am going to
Yay.
be sharing some excerpts and small poetry and stories from my book to just test out some feelers and get give people some sneak peeks. But yeah, a lot of things that I'm brewing. And also, Inspírame Latina is
Yay.
coming up. And
Yes,
I'm
yes.
very, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but
We have many surprises.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
I will say, so as a surprise, I will say that last year in August, we were part of a summit, and I had the honor of fine-tuning my ears with some magical song. Literally, I felt like it was so angelic, the voice of Miss Lulu. And I
Thank
was
you.
like, I need for her to be at some type of event. So so there's a
Yes.
potential that she will be actually at Inspírame Latina and
Yeah.
just grace everyone like I felt like I was graced. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so that's another amazing offering that I
Mhm.
have through the Hidden Hues of Motherhood. Performing and singing at events is I've been doing that for 15 years now. So now that I get to do it my way and through these amazing events is just it's
Yeah.
so great.
Yeah, and I loved because I know that you were presenting, but you opening up with a song, it was just, it enhanced the presentation. It just was really, it led into a beautiful segment.
Mhm.
So I felt very privy and honored to be there and experience that.
Thank you.
It definitely, I feel like that's what led into our conversation
Yeah.
and all of that. Yeah, definitely reach out to Miss Lulu because she
Yes.
is whew, so magical. When you see her in
Thank you.
person, have a conversation just like you've heard here. She just has so much beauty inside and out to share. And I just love listening and really connecting. We've connected on so many different levels of conversations, of grounding conversations and experiences and journeys that it's truly, I'm really excited that our paths crossed
Yeah,
and
me
that our
too.
conversation is continuing, that there are opportunities that we will be working on together. And yeah, I'm really excited
Yeah.
that God just had you in my life.
Oh, thank you, Jacqueline. You're so sweet. I'm so honored by your sweet words, and our friendship and getting to know you has been such a pleasure. And I've learned so much from you, your incredible careers and your businesses and everything that you do. And it's that soul connection. It's
Mm.
my goodness that
Like when you're grounded,
yeah.
grounded people connect so instantly.
Yes.
And it's so
It's
mind-boggling.
on another level. It's another level.
Different level.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing so many amazing gems and just opening up your experience and your moment of gratitude. I'm really appreciative of you being here. I hope that all of the listeners were able to take away something. So before I close, I want to give you that 1 or 2 minutes if you still have the moment to do a
Yes.
breath work so it could close into our
Yes.
final words.
Of course. Okay. So we're going to do a very soft breath work. We're going to take a breath in, 4 counts, and then a breath out in 4 counts, then a breath in 4 counts, and then we're going to hold it, and then we're going to let go in 4 counts. So let's start off and try and listen. If you're listening, you want to try and close your eyes. And we go in, out, in, hold it, out, in, hold it, out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, that felt amazing.
So just a couple little things of what I did there. The 4 breaths in is the 4 count in is always just like your standard breath in. The holding is has to be done with intention, and it's a reminder of this is something that's uncomfortable. This is something that's out of your comfort zone, but move through it. Moving through it will help you relax your body and not get as tense the more that you practice that. And then the letting go, it's as if you're letting go through a straw.
Mm,
Because if you just let go with your mouth wide open, then you're just gonna not be intentional about the breath out, the exhale. And an exhale is always a release. So I think the inhale is the refine, and the
mm,
exhale is the release.
I love that.
To make that release exhale more intentional, if you do it through a little straw, it's slower, it's softer, and it's consistent.
Thank you. It was so beautiful. And thank you for that follow-up.
I
Thank
love
you.
your name. I love the name Refine and Release. I love it. I love it. It's so perfect.
Thank you. It's just a testimony.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate you sharing that. Didn't expect ending with breathing exercise. So I was like, wow,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But that it actually started with me just saying, take a pause and breathe.
And it sounds like that. Refine,
And
release.
then, yeah.
Refine, release.
So
Amazing.
it's
Love
just
it.
like a full circle
Yeah.
moment. And so thank you
Of
for
course.
being
Thank
here. Thank
you,
you for
Jacqueline.
sharing. And I'm sure that we'll be in touch very soon. And for everyone who's listening, I hope that you truly if anything, you were able to do that breath work or at least take some of the golden gems that Lulu had. So thank you
Thank
again.
you. Have a
And
great day. Love
you
you, Jacqueline.
too. Love you too. And make sure to subscribe. Make sure to download this beautiful episode and make sure to comment and follow Miss Lulu. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Refine and Release podcast with your host, Jacqueline Vazquez. Please make sure to subscribe, comment, follow, and most importantly, share. Stay tuned for the next episode. Take care.